What happens when you drop a cylinder head on the floor from a great height? I'll show you. It breaks. I had a phone call the other day from a local garage who accidentally slipped, dropped this little BMW cylinder head. I think he was doing a gasket on it, I'm not sure, and broke this off here. So he rang me up and said, can we try and put that back on? So I said, bring it down, let's have a look, and we'll try and fix it for you. So I'm hoping the welder works out good and we get that back on for him. So what I've done is I've just started to clean up the edge. And down here, I'm going to clean up the inside. But I want to keep the original cast pattern there. So basically this bit literally almost clicks back into place. I'm probably going to affect this hole here, so I'm going to have to probably put that back in. I've noticed that he's also got a broken bolt there, so I might as well get that out while I've got some heat in it for him. And then I'm going to have to rig him to see if he wants it skimming. By the state of it, I would. It's got a big blow mark there. He's done a proper job of that, so I'm going to keep cleaning it. Let's see how we get on. And on another video, actually, the video with the Cozzy, I've had a comment on there from a guy that's turned out to be a friend, Kit, who pointed out that where the crack is, I should have drilled an hole to stop the crack going any further, which I agreed with, and I do agree with. You should always do that. Like if we're repairing an alley wheel, if it's cracked into the wheel, where the crack stops, we'll drill an hole through. And I must admit, I was thinking, why didn't I do that? And then it dawned on me, I didn't, because the whole bit was cracked out. There was no hole to put in it. It wasn't a crack that didn't go anywhere. The whole bits was hanging out, so that I couldn't put a hole in it. So Kit, if you're watching that, I did forget to put an hole in it, which I said to you on there, but also there wouldn't have been an hole to put in it because the bit was broken off. And oh yeah, let's get this welded up, let's get some heat into it, and hopefully we could do a good job. I'll show you the first bit of welding that I've done. I've mainly done this to stick it together, and then I can clean off the crap that's been pulled out of the casting. So I've got it where it's welded here on that corner there, and then I've done a little run along there. What I'm going to do now is just wire wheel to try and clean all this off, and then just start to try and fill it all in. And then I'm going to weld it from the back, and I'm going to leave the back as welded, but I'm going to try and clean the front up to make it blend into the original head casting for my customer. I'm just cleaning up anything that's pulling dirt out, and if I can see any like little cracks left, because I've got it all pretty much welded along here, but there was a little bit in the corner that I just couldn't get to fill, so I've ground the dirt out of it to try and get that better. And now I'm just looking for the aluminium to start to pull all the way around. I'm quite happy with that so far. I'll show you. So we've got a good continuous weld all the way along, all the way around this housing. This is the bit in here that I was struggling with, get this to point, just down here, but it's all stuck together quite well there. I'm going to have to just neaten this hole up here so we can get this housing back on. I'm hoping I can get this stood out with the heat. Oh yeah, fucker, that's hot. So now what I've got to do is weld along here, weld along the front, and then I'm going to put some weld along the back as well. So I've welded up across there. I've now just want to weld all the way along there and the front, and then it's a case of just dressing up where I've been. Okay, so I filled in the one that I was worried about, but there's still one more, and I've just can see another one there, so there's still 2 bits to do in there, but my electrode's blown to bits, and then I've just got to go across the front as well. So I'm going to go and clean my electrode up. So that's this cylinder head all done. It's all completely welded up along there. I just need to clean up these couple of faces. Got all the way in there as well. The stud won't come out. I was hoping a bit of heat would get that out, so I might speak to him before I put the effort into getting that out. He might want to do that himself, not sure. And that's it. I'm going to give it a, well, ring him about refacing it, but I think he does want it refacing. So what I've done is I've just filed off the lumps of weld on the gasket mating faces, and then I've drilled a pilot hole in the broken stud. What I'm going to do now is, this stud is actually pretty deep. It goes down to about here. So I'm going to gently warm this bit of aluminium up to try and let that expand. And then first thing I'm going to do is try and put an extractor in there just to see if I can ease it backwards and forwards to get it to move. If not, then we'll put some left-handed drill bits in there and try and pull it out that way. But next thing is get some heat, extractor, and try. So I've got the broken stud out, but unfortunately I've damaged the tops of the threads. I mean, there's the stud on the stud extractor if I move it where you can see it. But what I'm going to do is just put an insert in there. And that's the insert in there. The only thing that's left to do to this now is to skim it, but I'm not going to film that because we've filmed loads of that. So I've welded up all in the back of here. This bit was obviously broken off. I've welded all up in the back of there, V'd it right out, and then welded all the way along here, across the top, and then got the broken stud out. I'm quite chuffed with this. You can't really see on the front or at the top where the repair is. And that's it. So the job that we've got in at the moment is a 3.5 litre Jag straight 6, which I'm just getting ready to grind the crank on it. I'm actually going to polish the mains and have a measure first, because the mains don't look, sorry, the big ends don't look bad, but the mains are definitely worn. But if I can get away with not grinding the, oh, in fact, I can feel that. No, scratch that, I've got to grind it. There's a tiny little mark which I can feel, so polishing won't take that out, which is a real shame, because all the other journals are pretty much good. They'll go with a polish, but there we are, we can't just grind one. So what I'll do is I'm going to get the crank in the crank grinder straight first, start by grinding the big ends, and then finish off by grinding the mains. Because of the size of the crank, I always put this on, which is a steady. While I'm doing that, Sam has rebored and refaced the block, so he's just honing it to size now. So once he's honed it to size, we're going to use 3 different stages to get the right bore finish. We go in with a coarse first, then put a medium, give it a couple of sweeps up and down with a medium, and then finish with a fine, and just take 2 or 3 swipes with a fine. The reason we do that is to get the right peaks and valleys. That's then got to go in the wash. I've then washed this cylinder head. So this is the first big end that I'm getting to size. I still get mesmerised by this machine. I absolutely love this machine. So basically this wheel here opens these fingers and allows the wheel to come closer to the crank pin. So that's basically now taking half a thou off the journal. So I've done all the big ends and I'm on the mains now, so the steady's now doing a job. I'm using this side of the machine. I've got to take another 3 thou off this. I've got my continuous gauge up here that I've been using, so basically I can set this to 9 thou, watch the continuous gauge, make sure there's no ovality in it, just take my time and travel along the journal of the crank. Don't need to rush it, just get into the radius. We've got a nice radius on the wheel. And you'll hear it just touch the radius in a minute, like that. And then my last final thou. I'm not using the continuous gauge on this one because I'm trying to grind the crank and hold my GoPro, but yeah, normally I would have the gauge on there and I'll be watching that at the same time. So that's the crank completely ground now, so all I've got to do is measure it, record the data from each journal to give to my customer, and polish it, give it a good polish and give it a wash, I guess. The block has come out of the cleaner, so that looks really nice. It's got a nice finish on the deck, and we've deburred the top of the bore for him, so the ring should fit quite nice, and it's got a really good finish, cross hatch finish on the bores, and that's to size as well. Sam's brought me a cup of coffee down. Thanks, Sam. And then the cylinder head is all done and out the cleaner as well, so just going to give that a wipe down. You can't see it on the camera, but it's actually been welded up quite a lot all the way down these waterways, but can't do nothing about that. That's previous welding work. I mean, ideally it could have probably done with this being chopped out and welded, but that's what my customer wanted. That's what he's got. There must be some tungsten in it down there or something, because it's dragged on the head face as well, which I might have to have a look at that. That might need to just go over again. I'm not too happy with that. So yeah, next thing is to polish the crank journals and have a measure up. So I've decided to just tackle this jag head. You can see this little line here. You can't feel it, but it's just doing me head in a little bit. I just want to get at it's doing my head in a little bit, and I just want to get out whatever's in there. And also, where it's been welded before, they didn't even reshape the waterways, so I'm gonna repair these couple of bits here. I'm not going to do all of it because I'll be there all day, and I don't know that the customer wants to pay, to be honest, but for the welding, but I just can't send it out like that. And that bit there really is doing me head in a little bit, so I'm going to fix that bit. I'm going to repair these, make these look a bit better for him, and open up these water holes, which is a nightmare because they're not easy to skim, but there we are. It's going to need doing again. So the first job that I've done is I've opened up all the waterways where they've been welded before to get the shape back. I've dug out where I think it's got some previous tungsten which is causing this drag mark. So I'm going to put a bit of weld on here first, and then the worst waterway, I've dug all that out. I'm going to do them one by one just to see how they go. So that's all the waterways reshaped. I've done this bit of welding down here, tidied up all the way along here. I've welded up where it was corroded there. I've welded up all the corrosion there, and then right back to there. So we've got to put it back on the skimmer now, give it another skim to get it flat, and make sure we've got no big blowholes in it or anything like that. Then back in the wash if it's all good, and then it's ready for the customer to collect. So that's all the jag bits done. The head's looking a lot better actually. I'm pleased I put a bit of extra effort in and sorted out here, dug out the bit of tungsten that someone left in down there, what had left that little scratch in the cylinder head surface at the bottom there. So that's all gone now, and the holes that whoever welded it before, they'd left them virtually blocked up. I've reshaped them so they're all back to virtually the original size, and the whole thing just looks a lot better now, so I'm really chuffed with that. Crank's ground up lovely as well, so that's all greased. All of it's been through the wash, ready for my customer to build. We've supplied some mile pistons, which are the best maker cast piston you're going to buy, I guess, as well as Carl Schmidt. And then the main caps have all been cleaned too. They've been through the cleaner. The block's been cleaned. We've resurfaced the block surface, bored it, honed it, and then put a nice chamfer on for him as well. So this is all ready for him to collect now, and then he can get on with building it and just finishing off a few bits himself. He wants to, I think, do all his dummy building first. I don't know if he's going to change all the core plugs and things like that, so he's just got to prep the gasket surfaces to make them nice, and then get on with building it. Yeah, it's I'm really chuffed about the cylinder head actually. I did the cylinder head. That was the first job that I did. When the engine come in, we gave it, or Sam gave it a skim, and we then put it on the side and left it until we put it back through the cleaner, ready for my customer to collect. And when it come back out the cleaner and I was prepping the surface just to put some WD-40 on it, that's when we noticed that it had quite a bit of welding and the bit of tungsten in there, which yeah, sometimes you can't help but get a few like corrosion marks that drag the diamond across the head surface. Sometimes there's not a lot you can do about that, but you couldn't feel it with your finger, but it doesn't matter where you caught it on the light, you could see this line through it. And then I could see, like I say, Sam noticed that it had a lot of welding done to it. And then, like I said, the waterways, they weren't matched up. They'd just been filled with weld, and then yeah, like a repair from years ago, I guess. I mean, I'm guessing it's years ago because a lot of the repairs had re-corroded. So yeah, I just thought, you know what, I didn't hear from a customer about getting it sorted. I just thought I'm going to do it because I don't want it to go back looking like that. So, but what do you think, guys? Are you You happy with that work? Is that good enough? If you could leave any comments in the comments section. We're not building it, our job was only to do them bits of machining, but I am pleased we put the extra time in to get the head looking better for him. And yeah, if you could leave any comments that you've got, any questions that you've got, and if not, even if you could just leave the word Jag in the comments section below, that would really help with the channel and the algorithms and all that good stuff. And so my friend Guy has been down to collect his K20A engine parts that we've done a load of machining on, and one of the bits that he should have been taking was this cylinder head, which we've skimmed and sorted all the valves out. He brought the stem seals down so we could build it, but what he noticed, actually, I missed this, is this is the thermostat housing, and the previous owner has broken something in, drilled in that side, drilled in there, and then it's cracked along there as well. So he can't take it like this because he's got to get the thermostat housing to seal. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to repair this, because I'm not going to do it by drilling, because I do think that might be a broken drill bit in there, and it's also cracked. So I'll show you what I do. So I'm just using my die grinder, and I'm just going to grind this part of the head away, because that's where the crack is as well, and I want to get it where I can see the stud. So I thought I would just show you how I'm getting on. As you can see, I've ground all this away. You can see the shiny part, which is the original M6 stuck in there. And then the thing that I was concerned about was thinking there was a bit of drill bit or extractor in there, and there it is. That's a bit of left-handed extractor which was in there. So as I've ground it, you can see the top part shiny. So I've ground the top part away, and then that part's fell out. So I think with the size of it and everything, and the mess that someone had made trying to drill all these holes everywhere, I don't think that would have come out. What I'm hoping now is if I can get a chisel just behind here, there might be enough there now to just flick that bit of stud out. Then I'll clean up in the hole and then get ready to weld all that back together. And there we go, that's the broken stud out. That's it there. So it's reconstruction time. So I've got this prepped now, so I'm going to start to weld all of this back up. I'm expecting it to draw quite a lot of crap out of the aluminium, so I'm going to just try and draw all the dirt out of it first, grind it back and build it where it's a good solid bit of weld. So I've got this welded up, I've plotted where the hole should be. Guy brought over the housing for there, so I managed to sort that out. And what I'm doing now is I'm just tidying up where I've welded, just to try and hide the fact that it's been welded basically. So I'm just going to try and put a nice radius on here, back to how it was, neaten up down there. I'll show you the end result. So that's my repair all done. We've got a thread back in there as well, and then I've reshaped all this to make it look as stock as I possibly can. So what I could do now is Scotch Brite it to blend it all in with the rest of the cylinder head, but I'm not going to. It is repaired after all. We've got the broken bit out and the little extractor, and then build all this up with weld, reshaped it, got it nice and flat, and then drilled, tapped it, put a new thread in there. And it's used part of the original thread, because how I did it, I left the bottom part of the original thread in and then built all that bit up with weld, plotted where I wanted the M6 hole, and yeah, it's come out good. So the last test is to try on the thermostat housing. Hopefully both bolts will bolt in, so let's check that. Got one bolt at least. So this is the original one first, so we'll get that lined up. Yeah, that screws in nice. Yep, so we'll use another M6 bolt, and then hopefully that should screw in too. Yep. And then what we'll do is also just try and nip it up to make sure that the threads are good in there. I've cleaned out both thread holes, so the bolts are screwing down nice and easy. Got my 10mm spanner, my weapon of choice. Yeah, and that pulls down nice and tight. So I'm really happy with that repair actually. It's come out really good. Saved the cylinder head as well after we've done all the other work to it. So I'm gonna put it back in the cleaner now, and then my friend is gonna bring over the collets for it, and we're gonna build it up so it's ready for him to fit to his engine. On to the next job. So what do you think for that repair, guys? Would you have done it any other way? Do you think that's pretty good? If you could leave the comments in the comment section below, and if you have got a different way of doing it or think I should have done it a different way, then please leave them comments too. I'm always happy to read what people think and try and learn from you guys as much as show you what I do as well. So thanks for that, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Ta-ra.